Marvel Cinematic Universe has returned to theaters this weekend, The Fantastic Four. Ironically, this is the fourth time The Fantastic Four has been rebooted. Will this be the definitive take? To find out, joining us to talk all about it is a guy who loves to talk about movies and TV shows way too much. His name is Mr. Sean Chandler from Sean Chandler Talks About on YouTube and so many other things. Sean, first of all, good morning to you. I want to know, I have four important questions, okay?
Okay.
First off, there have been some duds of late from the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Is this a fantastic MCU film?
I would say we are definitely heading the right direction. That it feels like they have turned the corner and started to get better. The thing that's really cool about this movie is that it's on its own Earth. It's not on the same Earth as the rest of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and it's set in the 1960s. And so it's like some of the best world building they've ever done, where everywhere you go, there's like interesting tech, and it's familiar, but it's quirky and weird at the same time. And like you'll just see billboards in the background, and you're fascinated by it. And so it just feels different from every other Marvel Cinematic Universe movie. It has its own aesthetic, its own vibe, and it's a world you just want to explore and turn every corner and see how things work, and you want to do it with these characters.
I like that. That means I feel like I can go into this film, even if I've never seen a Marvel movie, I can just walk into this and feel, all right, brand new, starting over. That's
Absolutely,
good.
you can. Like, no homework required, no anything. They have an actual clean slate for this film, and there's just something very refreshing to have a Marvel movie that feels important for where things are going, but also doesn't feel like it has the weight of the rest of the universe on its shoulders. It's in a franchise, but it's a totally standalone story. And it, like, you know, we got 36 other movies. We've been to this world before. With Fantastic Four, it's refreshing, it's new, we're exploring something different.
I like that. All right, question 2 of 4. Who is the most fantastic character to stand out in the movie?
Oh, that's a tough one, because all
No
of them
spoilers.
kind of had something that I enjoyed about them. And in particular, I think they work really well together. Our main Fantastic Four, like any of them as an individual character, I don't think is that interesting, but it's the way that they banter and play off of each other is what makes each of them kind of stand out and be great. The character that I probably left the movie most like, oh wow, surprised by was probably Silver Surfer, because they like make her very sympathetic while she's also kind of this monster that wants to kill all of us at the same time. They always play her as someone that like feels bad about what she's doing. And so that kind of surprised me, the way that they're able to bring a certain amount of weight to that.
That's interesting you say that, because when her character was announced, the internet was upset because it wasn't the male version of Silver Surfer, Norrin Rad. This is Shia LaBeouf, and that made the internet upset.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not super invested in which Silver Surfer we're going with, so I have no skin in that particular game. It's a very classic Silver Surfer story of he's the herald for Galactus and she's forced to do this. Like it's very familiar territory, just this time it's a girl. And they use that as a dynamic with Johnny. Johnny's the womanizer, and so he's interacting with the pretty silver lady from space. He likes space, he likes girls. So the movie has a fun dynamic. There's like a reason in the movie for who she interacts with, why they would go with the girl version.
All right, running out of time. I want to get to these final 2 questions. Is there a fantastic end credit scene?
There is a mid-credit scene that is a tease for future things. It's not very long, but it is that, ooh. And then there's one at the very end that's like a fun little bit, that it's a payoff for something, but it's just a fun little bit, also pretty short. But if you really got to go pee, you don't have to stick around for the end one. You do need to stick around for the middle one.
Okay, and finally, which is more fantastic, Fantastic Four or Superman?
I thoroughly enjoyed both movies. Both of them are very comic booky. Both of them just drop you in the middle of this populated world. I think I would inch out Fantastic Four, because I just found it so refreshing to kind of go into this new planet, this new world, in the retro future Jetsons-esque vibe for everything. Is a little bit more serious. There's just a few things about it that just I think inched it out, but there's not a big gap in my mind between the two movies. I thoroughly enjoyed both of them. It was a good month to be a comic book movie fan.
You shock me, because I know Superman's like one of your favorites of all time. So
But I had a few issues with that movie. So, and maybe that's the thing that helps, is that with Superman I have these super high expectations, and with Fantastic Four I'm comparing it to garbage.
That's fine. As you use
it helps a little bit.
As you use a Superman mug, it's totally fine. I totally get it.
I do.
Sean Chandler from Sean Chandler Talks About. Really appreciate your time this morning, my friend.
Thanks for having me.
Fantastic Four: First Steps is the third and final MCU film to hit theaters this year. The buzz suggests it's fantastic. But is it? That's where a guy who likes to talk a lot about movies and TV shows, way too much, is here to talk about it. Sean Chandler Talks About from Sean Chandler Talks About on YouTube. And so much more. Now, you've seen the film. That's why I have you going on a deep dive for us. And
I've seen the movie twice, actually, so I've got in-depth thoughts this time.
Okay. Wow. All right. Well, in our last interview we did, which you guys can all watch on bakersfieldnow.com underneath Eyewitness News Mornings. It's a good watch. You said this Fantastic Four movie just edged out Superman movie that just came out. Why is that?
Yeah, I mean, I think a little bit of it is with Superman. It was just so jokey, and it felt like Metropolis is destroyed every single week, that you didn't feel the weight, the stakes of everything kind of going on. And in Fantastic Four, one of the things it does a good job of is really help you feel what the world is feeling about the events taking place, with Galactus showing up. There's this global threat, and it's designed in a way almost like the Michael Bay movies from 20 years back, where they'd like cut to the people of America, these news broadcasts. That's what this movie's like. And so it just has this grander scope and size to it. And I just really appreciated that about the film. And but like, I really enjoyed Superman 2. What will I feel a year from now? Which one will edge out? I don't know. But at the moment, Fantastic Four just kind of took me off to a place and made me feel something. And that was cool.
For comic book fans, do you think that we are witnessing the new Marvel versus DC battle? And who do you think's on top right now? Do you think it's Marvel then?
Well, I think right now we are at a place where it's too early to say, because this is the year where the MCU has kind of done this reset. They realized they were spreading themselves too thin with the Disney Plus. So they did this reset that really started with Thunderbolts. But they still have a couple of these leftover projects, like Ironheart came out a few weeks ago that nobody talked about. And then we're only one movie into the DCU. Like, what am I more excited for in the general sense? In the general sense, I'm more excited for the DCU. Which movie won this month for me? I'd edge out Fantastic Four by just a little bit. But I think there's something more interesting about a brand new universe rather than the 38th Marvel Cinematic Universe film. I mean, obviously one of these, it's like, yeah, I mean, we've done this already.
Yeah.
And the other one is we're starting fresh, and they only have all of their characters to go to, whereas the MCU's already kind of burned through some of their best characters and plot lines.
Well, let me bring you into this then, because they've already burned through these ones. Like, this is the fourth iteration of the Fantastic Four on film.
Yes.
Is this the definitive version of the Fantastic Four?
I mean, it is by far the best of the movies. They did one back in 1994 for $1 million that the producer only made to hold on to the rights, and they never officially released it. And then the ones 20 years ago, the Tim Story films that Chris Evans actually played Human Torch, they're fine, but they're just kind of pedestrian. That, like, it's from a primitive era of comic book movies. There's not a lot of sophistication. They're kind of corny. And then 10 years ago, they did that one where they literally had a battle behind the scenes between the director and the producer, so it's like half of a movie. Like, it's like literally an unfinished film. And so this is by far the best movie. Its plot is actually very similar to the basic setup of Rise of the Silver Surfer, the second of the movies from 20 years ago. It's a very similar plot line, but just executed much better, with a much more artistic flair to the set design, the world building, the costumes. It's just a very nicely executed version that takes you off to a place, which is, I love it when movies do that.
Let me end here with this. That last movie you just referenced, the Rise of the Silver Surfer, I remember going to theaters to see that, and we were introduced to Galactus. It was a giant space cloud. This time, it's a giant dude, a planet-eating man. Does that work? Which one's better? Are we actually get this? I mean, this version looks like the right version, but you tell me.
Yeah, I mean, he's designed to be just this absolute menace. You know, he doesn't necessarily have the backstory of a Thanos, but he's designed to just be this being of extreme thirst and lack of compassion that is just every time he's on screen, you're like, oh no, we're in big trouble. And it's just to state the obvious, when someone is taller than skyscrapers, there's just such a physical presence to a human, even a super powerful human, that he just dominates the screen. So it is like the comic true version of him that is on screen. So like you really feel like the comics are coming to life.
Well, I love hearing that. I got tickets for Saturday. I can't wait. I'm going to only see it once for now. You can go see it 2, 3, 4, 5 more times.
So my wife loved it, and she wasn't crazy about Superman. And then my son also had a great time with it. So my family really enjoyed this film.
Okay. Well, that's great to hear. My wife's going to appreciate hearing that then about your wife. All right. Sean Chandler from Sean Chandler Talks About. Man, we really appreciate your time coming on and talk about movies way too much.
Thanks for having me.